Hi, Truth family. Once again, welcome to Truth's booth. And I got a wonderful video for y'all today. And this one is entitled, I Slept in Diddy's House. Ex-Diddy producer turned pastor tells all. This is a video by Tommy Pastor, I believe. Tommy Arayomi. So without further ado, let's jump into this one.
Girls, a few moments later, girls came in. That was just one of the many instances where, like, the power that, this guy could get whatever he wanted. We would all be in the studio and they would be chanting different things over the music alone. This whole thing is spiritual. The spirit realm very much controls what it sounds like, what it looks like, what happens.
I'll go hear this. What was it like going from the secular industry into the gospel scene?
It's almost one and the same.
To myself, I'm thinking that.
So I will leave all the details to the video. You can see the link in the description section.
And he comes in, hey, can we film Pastor Rod? I said, for what? He said he used to be a producer.
Yes.
He did?
Yes.
Is that right?
That is correct.
Wow. Well, let's we're gonna go into all of that. Let's rewind a little bit. How did you get into the music scene?
So I started in music. My father was a pastor, and around the age of 12, as he's growing his ministry, growing his church, he laid hands on me one day. I had no desire for music. I wasn't, playing any instruments. And he said, I'm going to impart a gift to you. I impart the gift of music to you. And he laid hands on me. And over time, so maybe over the next 24 months, over the next couple of years, I started, I could notice I could play a melody with one finger on the piano, and then I could put together chords. I definitely know that it is a gift of God. The Bible says that God distributes gifts unto men, and that not only is it spiritual gifts, but it's also music or maybe business, or there's different things that God distributes to men. And I think definitely that's something I received directly from God.
That's so good, because we often talk about, like, the Acts 2 outpouring of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
By my spirit, your sons and daughters will prophesy. But we don't often talk about the first outpouring of the Holy Spirit, which was Exodus 31, of the Spirit of God's poured upon them in design and craft.
Oh, wow.
So that seems like it. That just laid hands on you, and there was this supernatural ability to find this craft that you didn't otherwise possess.
Right.
So what happened after that impartation?
So after that, over the next couple of years, I'm introduced to the piano and the organ, and I just noticed in my off times, if I wasn't at school, I'm glued to the piano now. I'm listening to songs and trying to pick out melodies. All I really had at that point was the music. The music was my go-to. So my mom got me this workstation. I'm in there honing my skills. I'm creating sounds and I'm putting things together. And slowly more and more people are saying, wow, man, this actually sounds pretty good. So a lot of the drug boys in the neighborhood, they everybody wanted to rap. Everybody wanted to be a rapper. And so they needed beats. So they would come to me for beats. And at this point, I'm selling beats. So I'm making a little money. I'm making 100 here. As time goes on, I run into a manager, a guy who says he's an artist manager. The manager told us about something called the Motown Talent Search, which was put on by a guy named Andre Harrell, who founded P. Diddy. He founded a lot lot of people in music, Mary J. Blige, a lot of people in the industry. He was a very high up guy in the music industry.
So it's interesting to just be reminded that other than, you know, guys like Diddy, there's people above him that have been in the industry for some time, and you know, is not the only one that's been involved in some stuff. I mean, if he was founded by somebody else, it just means that possibly and most likely the person that founded him knows a little bit more than he does, or taught him the ropes on how to get that money. So just saying, right, like Diddy's been thrown under the bus for sure, but there's some other like bigger persons involved that the feds or whoever the authorities would have to look at closer at as well, right? It would be just fair to say that.
At that point, and the Motown talent search was kind of like American Idol before the technology, before, you know, TV. So if you got that opportunity, you had to take advantage of it because the competition was very stiff. And we got invited out, and we did our thing, and we got invited back to a second round. So we were really, we were like, wow, this is crazy. Andre Harrell, Motown, like, man, this is crazy. It all came to an end, though, when I went home one night, and I'm just going over my stuff and going over my raps, and I hear a voice that says, take all your raps and destroy them and burn them. And for some reason, I knew it was God. I mean, I hadn't had, you know, that many close conversations with the Lord. I mean, I grew up in church, but I knew it was something about that voice. It carried a lot of weight and a lot of conviction. And so in that moment, I decided to obey. And I had a big stack of songs that I had written. Now, they were full of the normal stuff, you know, profanity and whatever rappers were talking about at the time. Women, drugs, violence. And so this voice told me to take the raps, don't just throw them in the trash can, very specific. Take them outside, put gas on them, and burn them. I burned the raps, and I had another conversation with God, and I said, well, if I can't do the raps, I'm gonna at least do the beats, because this would, in my mind, this would be a waste. Like, why would you give me the talent, the ability to create this music? I'm growing, you know, I'm getting sharper, and I'm kind of at an advantage over where most people would be at this point in their career. You know, I've met all of these people. I've gone to New York. I bought equipment. I got to get to the top of this thing. Mm-hmm. And I told God, I'm going to just make the beats. And I did that. I started.
And it's unfortunate how, you know, fleeting rap music is associated to the negative stuff in you know, the music of today. It's like, say rap, then you're gonna think, you know, sex, drugs, and money automatically, as if they are, you know, mutually inclusive, or as if they're designed to move together. But in actuality, one is just an art, right? So
started making beats for more groups, more drug dealers, started making a little more money per beat. I think I started at like $100 a beat, got all the way up to like 700, 1,000. So now things are growing. I'm about 18 years old now, and I moved to Houston.
Let's go right now into like meeting Diddy.
Okay.
What was it like meeting Diddy for the first time?
Meeting him for the first time, it was, number one, it was the dream come true. I met some guys who said that they could get me to them. I'm producing records. They send one of the records, and I get a call. Hey, Diddy loves the record. He wants to use it, and I get a check for $7,000 for that little bitty track I did. It probably took me 5 minutes to make the track. So I'm steadily sending more records. And now Diddy wants to meet. Now they're like, they want you to come to New York. So I get on the plane and I go to New York. And I go to Daddy's House Studio, 44th and Broadway in Manhattan.
Daddy's house. That's funny.
And we're all out there, and Diddy pulls up in a drop top Ferrari 360 Spider.
What's Daddy's house? What's the reference to Daddy's?
So Daddy's house, his name was Puff Daddy then. It wasn't Diddy. So Puff Daddy.
Oh yes, it was Puff.
It was Puff Daddy. So Daddy's house recording studio.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That was your first encounter with them. What was like your next significant encounter with them?
the next significant encounter was in Miami.
Okay.
It was in Miami at a party. I just remember him walking in and asking everybody, "Hey, what kind of girls do y'all want?" And like, you know, a few moments later, the girls came in. And I think somebody said they wanted Puerto Rican girls, and just a bunch of them came in.
Where did they come from?
I don't know. I didn't have the connection.
Probably came from the basement. See, it probably came from the tunnels. Where else?
Connections with. So, you know, we're in Miami, and that was just, you know, that was just one of the many instances where, like, the power that, you know, this guy could get whatever he wanted. There was already girls there at the party, but I believe these girls came specifically to do whatever we wanted them to do. So,
And it's suffice to say at this point you're backslidden, you're gone, or is there still a fight in there?
there's still a fight. You know, there's still a fight. I'm dealing with the voice of the Lord every moment, telling me to get out of there, and fighting this. I actually feel like I'm going crazy, and I'm trying to share with other people to see if they're going through the same thing, because I know some of the producers and the writers that I'm around, they came from church too, and I'm wondering, like, man, how are y'all like not feeling this? Like, because the fire of God is all over me, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna lose my mind trying to fight this. So, you know, there was a couple guys I would try to talk to, and I would say, hey, how do you feel about doing secular and, you know, and working for the Lord? Like, or how are you feeling about it? And some guys would say, hey, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it's just the gift. And so a lot of times I would go back to God, like, God, you know, you gave me the gift. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I struggling emotionally and psychologically?
You know, it's interesting how he tried to, you know, escape the enemy one way and burnt the records, the music that he was making, but it seemed that the enemy still tried to get him another way. Okay, so the enemy never gives up. You might have thought, oh, I'm done, I destroyed that, whatever material I had that he had on me, but he never gives up, and this is, you're just trying to get him from a different angle.
So tell us about the overall environment of the music industry. You're in now, the secular industry at least. What did you experience, let's say more so from a spiritual Christian's perspective, being inside? What did you experience?
One thing I experienced is that this whole thing is spiritual. Most people would just attribute it to being gifted or being talented, but the spirit realm very much controls what it sounds like, what it looks like, what happens in these rooms, on these records, what's written. I remember even the first record that I did for Bad Boy Records. I remember being in the studio for 4 days straight, no sleep, because I was driven by something more than just my own. It was something driving me.
Was it the demonic spirit?
I believe it was a demonic spirit in the sense that if I wasn't in those realms, I couldn't hear the music like that. I couldn't hear it as clear. Like, there were certain sounds and certain things that I could hear and produce that if I wasn't in that mind frame, I wouldn't be able to produce it.
So what got you in that mind frame? What would it be?
It would be focus, just almost channeling something else. Weed, getting in the studio and just, channeling it, just pulling it out. And when I got to a certain level of it, I noticed it could come in 5 minutes. I could just create something and it would be amazing. Some of the most amazing music I ever heard.
Wow.
And just on this note, isn't it interesting, even in the video that we're looking at last time of Little Jeremy, who used to be a gospel singer, right? And they got him out of the church, and it seems like a lot of times they're trying to get talented people, sometimes, not all the time, but those who are in the church, and trying to see, how can we just change this person to do our calling, right?
And you described moments where you saw people actually doing seances over their music.
Absolutely.
So what did that look like?
So we would all be in the studio, and it would almost be ritualistic. We would light candles, and as the beats are playing, they would, their hands would be moving like this, and they would be chanting different things over the music alone. This is before it goes to the writers. And honestly, I can hear it in my ears like it was just yesterday.
And this is not the first time. It's just confirming what we've already heard before from the likes of John Todd, who used to be a producer, if I'm not mistaken. He used to work in the music industry, and they would cast spells on the master record before they make copies of it, and this was designed to attack specific people, most specifically those that they were not able to cast spells on directly. They would use the music to have them, right, Christians, believers, to open up so that those spells can be effectively cast upon them. So this is something that we've heard before, and it's nothing new. They do this in the music industry, y'all.
It was amazing music, and I again, you don't get to those realms without a supernatural aid or a supernatural guide.
And so fast forward, like your next significant kind of Diddy moment, what was that like?
We spent the time together in New York at Daddy's house, and then when we went to Miami, there was a couple parties. And
interesting, I always keep saying Daddy's house. It's so weird.
And we never really came one-on-one. You really had to be in his inner circle to get that close to him and to spend that kind of time with him. So being new and coming up through the ranks, and he would come in and say, "Man, you guys sound amazing, keep going." He would give us encouragement, and of course we got on some records and we made the money and the doors were opening. And I believe that in the realm of the spirit, should I have taken the different sacrifices and the the different sexcapades and done all of these things, I think it would have just kept going. But I think the Lord put the brakes on it, and in a way, and put fire on it. So,
and what was like a final straw for you?
So after leaving Miami, there was another party that was happening in Vegas. So everybody flew to Vegas. It may have been an industry event, like an award show or something. So we're all in Vegas. Everybody's there. Diddy. I believe Dr. Dre is there. Truth Hurts is there. A bunch of people are there. And so my way was paid, by my handlers from Diddy's camp. And hotel, plane, food, everything I need is all taken care of. And at this point, I'm pretty much about to go crazy trying to fight what the Lord wants me to do. And when I got there, I said I can't do it anymore. Party's gonna happen that night. I said I can't do it. So without telling anybody, I just walk away, and I don't even know how I'm gonna get home. So I'm on the Vegas Strip, and I'm crying my eyes out like a crazy man. And people are walking by looking at me like I'm a homeless guy, and I'm...
Yup. Better get out of there. He's not your daddy. Okay? Not your daddy.
No words, just in the bus stop, sitting there just crying like a crazy man. And I called my dad, and my dad bought me a plane ticket. I jump on the plane, I go back to Houston. And the phone calls start. Hey, where you at? And I told him, hey, I can't do it. I'm not coming. They're like, well, what do you mean you can't do it? We're getting ready to go into the party. Like, where you at? And I'm like, well, I've left town. I can't do it. And they were like, what? Hey, you joking? And I said, I'm walking away from it all. And they were like, no, you're not walking away. You need to get here now. And I hung up. And
what do you mean you need to get back here now? I said I'm walking away. Like, what the? Crazy.
And I stopped answering calls. But then the threats started. I started getting threats. We're going to find you. None of these guys knew my mom or where she lived. My mom.
And it's just basically the operation, what was it, Operamandi? I forget, but that's just basically the way gangs operate, right? If they want you and you seem not to be interested, or you come in a little bit and you kind of taste what they have to give, and then you say I'm not interested, yeah, they're not gonna give up that easy. They will try to get you in, even if they have to force you in. Okay, that's just the way gangs work. That's the way the occult works, right? So this is a cult. This is not just people trying to make music and make a living. No, this is really an occult organization. This industry.
Mom started calling me, hey, these guys are calling my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time. They were even calling her house.
Wow.
Yes, they were calling my dad. They even came to my church, it was very scary because I almost felt forced into, I almost felt like, well, I'm going to have to go back into this and I'm going to have to fulfill it, because I didn't want anybody to get hurt.
Well, it's almost like, I watched this video about the former wife of P. Diddy. I wrote a book about her,
Kim Porter.
And she was speaking about how there was only one way out.
Yes.
Death.
Yes.
You're leaving in a body bag. Or I think it was Rihanna when she got signed to Jay-Z. He said something like there are two ways out. You sign this deal or out that window.
Yes.
She signed because they were on like a 20th floor of a big...
It's a cult, guys. These musicians and all these people, this is a cult. You don't just get in. If you sign that deal, or if you just give them the idea that you're interested and you give yourself over, they are now giving them the green light. So it's like you have something that they want. They recognized it. So you can't just say no at the last minute, okay? they're gonna take it. Oh, why you don't want to join us anymore? What's up? I thought we were friends.
Biggest part of the building. And so these things are like cults and not really record labels, right? Cult following.
Absolutely.
Wow. And why do you think it was holding on to you so tight?
I think one of the reasons is because I got really close and I seen it with my own eyes. I experienced it, and I had the option to say no and to walk away.
Right.
I got that close. I tasted it, and I still walked away. And I walked away because of the voice of the Lord.
And they even came to your church.
They did.
Yeah.
I told the Lord, Lord, if you help me out of this one, I'll obey you. I'll do whatever you want. And
a lot of times, God will allow you to go through a situation like this if you're disobedient, just to kind of allow you make your mistakes and learn from your mistakes by yourself, other than just him forcing himself on you to say, I'm not gonna allow you to do that. But he allows you to make the mistake so you actually learn from it and you make a decision by yourself to do the right thing, right? And I have myself made a covenant like that before. If I do this, if you take this away, I will do this for you. So
I prayed with a sincere heart, and the call subsided. They stopped. They stopped. But the crazy part is I actually went back to the music. I actually went back. The pull was so heavy. I figured, okay, I got away from them. I'll just carve my own way, and I'll just do it my way this time. Okay, no, I'll do it in a clean way, God. I'll just.
Which seemed to be a thing, a company like God.
And I think there's nothing wrong with making music, making beats as he was doing. It's not so much about what you're doing, but the way you're doing it and whom you're doing it for, right? So it's just the way that he was doing it. He surrounded himself with the wrong people. He had the wrong market.
I won't do the rap thing. I'll just do the beats. Okay, and the beats. I'll go to Houston, but I'll sit. You're kind of like Lot. I'll sit on the outside,
right?
In Gomorrah. Then somehow you found your way back in again.
I did.
So here you are back again. So back in the scene.
So what happened was, Beyonce's attorney hearing you.
Alright guys, I'm not gonna play the entire video here. I will give at the honor of the video some credit. This is a really good video, and so I would recommend that you click on the link down below in the description section. But I do really appreciate you taking your time out just to chill out with me and check out this video with me. But once again, like, subscribe, and keep it 100. Until next time.